this is Alex Merced from alexmercedcoder.com, and this is going to be the first in several videos doing a build with Liquid and Express. Yeah, so our goal is just to build an application with Liquid and Express. So video number one, what we're going to do is just set up, because we're going to be using Mongo for our database. We're going to be using Express for our backend framework and Liquid for our templating engine. So we need to get all that kind of stuff set up. So here I have an empty folder that I'm going to be working out of in Visual Studio Code. Okay, you need to already have Node installed. Okay, so if you don't have Node installed or haven't used Node before, this is probably not the video you want to watch. You probably want to watch like my Node master class or something like that. So that way you know what Node is before you get too deep down this rabbit hole. Okay, so let's see here. Let's get set up. So I'm going to hit terminal, create a new terminal. First thing I'm going to do is touch my server.js. And the nice thing about touching your server.js before you do the npm init, so if I do npm init -y to create my new package.json, it'll notice that I have a server.js in there and make the server.js the main file for this project. So that's a nice benefit. Now we're going to install our dependencies. So we're going to install Express, because that's our backend framework. We're going to install Mongoose, because that's what we're going to use to connect to the Mongo database. We're going to want .env for storing all our sensitive variables in a .env file. We are going to want Liquid Express views, so we can use Liquid templating. Then we are going to want, let's see here, what else should I add? We're going to want method override. That's going to be for overriding our methods for when we want to delete or update later on. Method override. I am going to want more again for logging. That's going to help us diagnose things when we have a problem. And I'm going to, well, I'll install Nodemod separately. Trying to think of anything else I want to install quite yet. No, there'll be other stuff I want to install for like authorization, but we'll do that at a later point. So we'll install this for now. Cool, and we're going to be following an MVC, or Models, Views, Controllers architecture. So let's touch our MVC folders. So Models, Views, Controllers. And let's also make a utils folder in case we need to make any utility functions or kind of anything that doesn't fit into MVC. So we'll we want to make those directories. So make dir models, views, controllers, and utils for utilities. Just kind of like any miscellaneous stuff that I'd like to kind of give its own file. Okay, cool. So that's all set up. Now we also want to make sure we touch a gitignore file, .gitignore. And we're going to want to touch a .env file to store all our environmental variables. Okay, good. And in our gitignore file, we want to make sure that our .env is in there, so that way that doesn't get pushed up to GitHub. And we want to make sure that node modules is in there, so that doesn't get pushed up to GitHub. Okay, so those are out of the way. Those things will be ignored. And for the most part, only thing else I want to do is install Nodemod, so npm install, but I want to install that as a dev dependency, so I do save dev, and we install Nodemod. Okay, and essentially what we'll be building is just basically a multi-user to-do app. So first we're just going to build a single user to-do app, and then we'll refactor it to be a multi-user to-do app. Okay, so that's essentially what we're going to build here. Okay, and let's see here. Cool. So all my dependencies are installed, so I can see that all my dependencies are over here. And I can see dev dependencies are over here. This is all wonderful and good. Now what I want to do is set up some scripts. So I'm going to wipe these two out. And I'm going to have a start script. That's just sort of our normal production deal. So node server.js. And then I want to have what's the word I'm looking for? A dev script for running in development mode. So that'll be node Nodemod server.js. So whenever we want to run it like with Nodemod, we'll use the dev script. So that'd be like npm run start, npm run dev. That's how these scripts generally work. And I think we are good. Okay, so that essentially will be our setup. The only thing we need to do is set up our .env. So there's a couple variables we'll need. We're going to want a variable called secret, which won't be needed till much later in this video series, but this could literally just be any string you want. It could be something like my pants are on fire. That is literally, it could be anything. Okay, then you're going to want your database URL. Okay, we'll construct that in a second, so that's going to be blank for now. And we're going to want our port, which we'll just say 4000 for now. Okay, so you should have, if you haven't, you should go to MongoDB and create an account so you can access this database. Okay, so that's first things first. Okay, so sign up. I'm going to sign in. Okay, so I want to sign in. I'll use the Zen account and do that. And this is going to log in. And what I'm going to do is create a temporary user. So I'm going to say database access. But essentially, once you get, if you're just signing up and you're using this, what you really want to do is make sure that you have all IP addresses whitelisted. Okay. And create a user. So we'll just create a user. We'll call it, OUI, user, password, user. Okay, that's fine with me. Hopefully it doesn't complain. Yeah, read and write to any database, that's fine. That's fine. And again, this will be a temporary user for, we'll say 1 week while I create these videos. So that way, when you watch these videos, you won't be able to use the exact same URL that I just used. So add user. Okay, no thanks. Doesn't matter. Okay, so I have my user. So now, once you have your user and your IP addresses have been whitelisted, then what you can do is you can connect. You're gonna click connect your application, and then you're just gonna copy this URL. So we'll just copy this URL over to our .env file. Okay, and then we just put in the username, which was user, and the password, which was user. And then we're good to go. Okay, so now we technically have all the pieces. Now this part that says my first database, we can change this to whatever we want. So we'll just change this to like liquid to do app. There we go. And yeah, we're good there. So technically we got all the pieces in place to start building the app. In the next video, we'll kind of handle like a lot of the database setup. And then the video after that, we'll start the server setup. We'll just kind of keep doing this step by step. So I'll see y'all in the next video. Have a good one. Ciao.